All righty. Um, I hate not having a live audience, so my apologies if I'm a little stilted here and there, but this is your Brain on Conference. Um, right now, because I know you can. You have a phone, you're on your computer, you're here. You have access to your email. Email me right now to get the slides for this. Put conference brain slides in the subject line. I will send you the slides. Do not be trying to take screenshots that you will forget about and never, use again. Just email me like now. Do it now before you forget. Email me now, get the slides, so you can come back and put your notes in and refresh your brain on this wonderful, wonderful class. But don't listen to me. I am not a neurologist. I am not a psychologist. I have no certification of any kind. Um, I am just a mom who has six children. They range in age right now from 11 to 18, and several of them are special needs, neurospicy, whatever you want to call it. And we adopted three of them out of trauma. So, brain development and what the brain does is literally a life and death subject in my household. I think of myself as the Hermione of Hufflepuff. When in doubt, go to the library. And so I have spent a lot of time reading, researching, learning all kinds of wonderful things about the brain. I will also say things in this class like, do this, don't do this, make this happen, don't do this. Like, you are an adult, use your own mental faculties, take what works for you, leave the rest, don't sweat it too much, apply your own nuance. Here we go. Writers rely on our brains. And this is kind of a strange thing because the brain is a physical organ. And yet it is responsible for all of the non physical, ineffable, imaginary, conscious, around, all of the things that we can't see, all of the things that aren't physical about our lives are happening in our brains, which are physical organs. I think we've all been in that place where the writing is so hard. It's not coming. Every word feels like you are just pulling it out of your body physically and putting it on the page. And afterwards, you're not even sure it's that good. It doesn't feel great. And then there are times where the writing just flows right through you and it feels effortless and it's fun and it's interesting. And the stuff you're writing is great and you're making progress and it just has that effortless, focused feel to it that just feels so good. Well, the difference between the first experience and the second is that is your brain on flow state. Flow states are triggered by those times of struggle. They're also more likely to happen when you are writing by hand, just so you know. I am going to advocate to do a lot of things by hand in this class because it does something different in the brain. If you can't write by hand, if it's too slow, whatever, you do you, but writing things by hand does help with this flow state. So what is the flow state? Well, this is your brain on flow. We're going to do a quick primer here. I apologize for the graininess of the image. This is the best one I could find from the Flow Genome Project, which was started by Stephen Kotler. Again, if you want more resources, if you want further reading, if you want source citations, put that in your email to me and I'm happy to provide that. But flow state is actually a cycle and it starts in struggle. And when your brain is in, I like to think of it more like it starts with novelty. You are encountering something new, something you haven't done before, something that is making you really think, really put forth mental effort. When that happens, your body releases cortisol and norepinephrine, which is just another name for adrenaline when it's in the brain. So your body gets stressed. Your brain gets a little stressed. This is new. I don't know what's happening. Then you have the release, where your brain and your body kind of catch up to that struggle. And the amount of nitric oxide in your blood goes up, and your brain goes from super stressed out beta brain waves to a little bit calmer alpha brainwaves. You have decided that you are going to push through this struggle. You have accepted, I'm going to do this thing. It's hard. I'm going to do it anyway. And once you get through that state of release, that's when you hit flow. And that is where everything feels really, really good. Your dopamine is up, your endorphins are up. Anandamide is another one of those neurotransmitters that's helping kind of regulate that super on, super focused, but also super calm. You're very chill. You don't have that same agitated feeling you had in the beginning, but you've got that laser focus and everything is just happening. It's feeling good. And then the flow state ebbs. And when that happens, your brain needs serotonin and oxytocin. It needs your cuddle molecules and it needs your more restful, relaxing, I am enjoying things that I don't have to put a ton of effort into. Your brain really needs that recovery in order to go back into a flow state. Here's the cool thing. Flow states can happen in chunks of 2 to 4 hours. So you can have multiple flow state cycles in a day. And as long as you pay attention to your recovery, you can go back into that flow state again. And you can do it multiple times in a day. So what might this look like at conference? Well, that might look like you're arriving, maybe you've got your first class, maybe you're sitting down to, your first, to the Thursday workshop, and you're encountering all the newness. That's going to be followed by you kind of got a feel for what's going on and you accept the novelty. You accept that classes are going to push you. There are going to be a lot of information you're not aware of. It's all very new. You're going to be encountering new people and you've kind of regulated your nervous system to there's a bunch of new people here. After that, then comes the wave and we just ride it. It is where you have that heightened state where every class feels like it's feeding your brain. You've got new ideas happening constantly, like you're hearing things in class that your brain is automatically connecting to your own stories, your own work. So you're making notes on your story at the same time you're making notes on the class, but you've got that hyper focus that just carries you through. And then there are breaks. There are snack breaks and lunch breaks and times where you're just chatting it up with people. You're making new connections. That's going to build your serotonin, your oxytocin back in, and then back into the fray you go. So how do you use this for your own conference experience? I want this to be very practical for you. And I am getting swirling ball of death. Chantel, are we having technical difficulties?
I see your slides just fine. You are swirly, but your slides are fine.
Okay. I don't really know what to do about the swirly. Oh, it moved. Yay. Okay, we might just have to.
Yeah, your slides moved just fine. I see your next.
We might be at the mercy of the computer here. We'll see.
You were gonna do. Check your connection if all else fails. But I see your screen share very well.
Cool. We'll carry on. The first thing you have to realize is that conference starts before conference. So in order for you to have the most successful conference experience, you need to do some prep work. The first thing is you need to do a brain dump. And this is something that, again, I recommend you doing by hand. Part of this has to do with the fact that you do have 2 different hemispheric brain systems. We've maybe in pop culture heard a little bit about right brain, left brain kind of a thing. Most of that isn't really scientifically based in terms of the logic creativity thing. Like your brain does that all over the place. What really is happening there is that you have 2 different neural networks, and one is the default mode network. And that part of your brain is what can forecast into the future. It can plan, it can brainstorm, it can reflect on the past, it can bring information forward that you need to do current tasks that you're trying to do. And then you have the task positive network, which is very, very focused and is meant to help you achieve tasks in the present, as the title would make you think. It is task positive. It is about the now. It is about the momentary focus right now. My slides are not moving again. This is lame. I may have to start over again, but
This might be your internet connection is my only thought. Try moving them. Let me see if they're moving on my end.
all I'm seeing is conference starts before conference brain down.
Yeah, that's all I'm seeing too.
Yeah, I've hit the button a few times and it's not, the button isn't buttoning, so I am not really sure what to do about that because that's just going to be my computer struggling on my end. I don't know
Hmm.
if there's anything I can do about that.
Email me the slides. Maybe I can hit the button for you if all else fails. And in the meantime, talk
Yeah,
about it, and I can see if I can get that set up.
of course. Um, you know what? My computer isn't even going to let me exit this, so I'm gonna keep talking.
Perfect.
But
Do the
and hope
best you can. Everybody
yeah,
is
hopefully
supporting
I
you.
get some. So absolutely email me and get these slides because, and there goes some of it,
All
and
right, I
then
see. I see the brain
aha,
picture.
okay, I have escaped out. Okay, let's. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go through it like this because apparently my computer is not liking full screen mode. So I'm sorry. Don't judge my tabs. Um, so we have these two networks. Most of the time, these networks trade off functions. They can go back, you can go back and forth between brainstorming, reflecting on the past, and doing things in the moment. And in fact, when things are working well, these two trade off really well, where you're brainstorming about a thing, and then you're coming up with a couple of ideas, and then the next thing you know, you've written 2,000 words on a scene. That's the ideal. The problem is that when you have too many tabs open, the default mode network will not sit down and shut up. It will not trade places and allow you to start focusing in the present again because it is convinced that there is too much happening, there's too much writing on the future for you to possibly pay attention right now. So if you ever go through times where you're like, I have too many things to do, I literally cannot do any of them, that is not a moral failing. You are not lazy. You are not a bad person. It is your brain. It's neurological in nature. So you're going to do a brain dump. You're going to get all of those tabs that are running open in your brain, all of the stuff you have to do around the house, all the stuff you're doing for work, anything that you are currently worrying about, because worry is future casting. You're going to get it all written down. And then you're going to schedule it. You are going to make it time concrete. Later does not count. Turns out your brain doesn't know what later means. Later is a nebulous concept that your brain kind of sort of understands. But this is why your to-do list shows up the minute you're trying to go to bed at night, because your brain doesn't have a concrete time for when those things will happen. And that's why, well, we'll do it later, we'll do it tomorrow, does not work because that is not a concrete enough time for your brain to accept, oh, yes, we know when this thing will happen. So go through your list, figure out when you're going to do stuff. And if there's stuff that cannot get done before conference, just delete it. Be like, okay, that's not going to happen. Nope. Oh, I'm going to delegate this to somebody else. Done. Go through it all, close those tabs. Next, you're going to pick a breathing technique. Once you have done your concrete scheduling and all of your tabs are closed, Google is your friend here. If you're like, I don't know breathing techniques, Google is your friend. Find one you like, find one that feels good, that lets you take over your nervous system again. Let's put you back in control of your nervous system. Because once you do that, you can go back into a focused state and you can get the things on your list done now that you need to do. But this is also going to be super helpful going into conference day of. Next, you need to toughen up just a little. You are about to probably end up in situations where you are getting either Thursday feedback, you're in a pitch session, you're in a query consult, you're in a manuscript consult, something. Your writing, your skills are going to be put up for scrutiny and you're going to get feedback. Everybody needs that feedback. Seasoned writers need that feedback. It's not personal. And if you can try to remind yourself of that before you go into conference, it makes receiving that feedback way easier. At the same time, please don't come into conference like nothing affects me. I am never going to have to listen to anybody ever. Like that's not great either. That's what I say. Remember to thicken your skin a little bit. Don't go crazy. You also need to be managing your health carefully in the days leading up to conference. This means getting enough sleep. This means getting enough hydration, not just water, but also electrolytes. Your neurotransmitters are made of salts. Your nerves communicate with each other via salt ions that go back and forth between them. If there's not enough of those, you will not feel well. You will start getting sleepy. You will start getting achy. It will not be fun. So manage those. This is also probably not the best time to start a new diet or to pick up an extreme exercise regimen that you have never done before. I'm not saying don't go for a walk. That's good. That's wonderful. That's lovely. But maybe we don't start squatting heavy bars at the gym when we haven't been doing that up until now. You want to make sure that you're not super stressing out your physiology going into this then. Then you're going to pack and plan for success. Physically, you want to make sure that you are going to be comfortable. You want to make sure that you have whatever hydration and snacks you're going to need. Pack in layers so that, if it's too cold, too warm in the conference rooms, that's not going to sit and bother you. If you need more lumbar support, maybe consider bringing whatever you need to make yourself comfortable, that sort of thing. And comfortable shoes. Do not be trying to come to this thing in pretty heels unless that is really your thing and you are actually comfortable in those things, because your feet will kill you by the end. Also, make a plan for yourself socially. Many, many writers are introverts. Socializing is very difficult for us. We feel awkward. We don't like small talk. We are really excited to see maybe one or two friends that we know. But if you're new to this and this is your first time, you're going to be overwhelmed by the number of people that you don't know that are there. Alternatively, if you are an extrovert and you are just so excited to come into this space and you see all of these very terrified introverts kind of pulling back from you. If you're an introvert, get ready to dial your social up a little bit and maybe prep with a couple of icebreaker questions. Where are you from? What do you write? What are you working on now? Writers love to talk about writing. Ask us about what we're working on is the easiest icebreaker. So make that plan for yourself socially. And then also mentally, it's a really good idea to go through the conference schedule and figure out what is going to be relevant to you. What are you most interested in? What are the classes you've got your eye on? And how are you going to incorporate what you're learning over the course of the weekend? If you have that plan in place before you go in, you're going to do your brain a favor. I did forget to mention that flow state where you're on dopamine, endorphins, anandamide, that looks almost identical to drug use because you're kind of high. So this is your brain on conference this is your brain on drugs. Endogenous, natural, yummy, yummy neurotransmitter drugs that we have to help us have motivation and feel good about what we're doing. But also, we are in that heightened state. And if you are not super prepared for that, it can lead to some issues we're going to talk about here. So I'm here. I did my planning, I did my brain dump, I regulated my nervous system. I'm here now. What? Know your writing self. If you are a plotter, going to classes for discovery writers might not be in your best interest. If you are an indie author, more traditional classes might not be what you're looking for. If you're looking for more traditional publishing, indie author stuff might not be for you. Don't feel pressured to go into classes you don't think are going to be useful to you. But also, as you are sitting in the classes that are useful to you, you are going to hear a lot of things. You do not have to take every tool that is handed to you. If you know your writer self well, feel free to disregard stuff you know doesn't apply to you. If you don't really know your writer self yet, and you're like, but that's why I'm here. Great. Let all the tools come to you, stick them in your box, and as you want to try them out later on, you can. Don't feel like anyone is telling you the wrong or right way to do things. Writers know there's not a wrong or right way to do writing as long as you're writing. The next point is do everything in the moment. Again, your brain doesn't know what later means. Your later is not a thing your brain can understand. So if you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to text that person, I'm going to get that phone number, I'm going to ask that question, I'm going to follow up with so and so. No, you won't. And there's another neurological reason for why that's true. We'll talk about later on. But for now, just trust me. If you want to go and ask somebody a question, do it now. If you want to get somebody's phone number or you want to exchange information with somebody, do it in the moment you're thinking about it, or like write it on a sticky note that you are sticking on your computer so that you cannot forget to do it before the day is done. You also need to be socially mindful. Again, when you're in these heightened flow states, you're going to be more outgoing. You're going to feel more motivated. You're going to feel like anything is possible almost. And I am convinced that 80+% of all the writers' conference horror stories you hear about people following an agent into the bathroom and trying to pitch to them there, just a lot of like social faux pas or going up to someone that you recognize as being like, there are going to be some writers here whose names you will recognize. They're here to teach. They are here to mentor and help people. They want to do that. That's why they're here. And also, the temptation to fanboy or girl on them is going to be high. I have, in the past, gotten very excited about seeing somebody I knew and just went right up and kind of started talking. And I had met them before, like I was an acquaintance of theirs. It wasn't just somebody that I admired, but I absolutely walked up and just interrupted a conversation. And of course, like 2 seconds later, the rest of my brain caught up and was like, was that a good choice? Um, so just be socially mindful. If you're really excited to talk to someone, go make sure you're kind of in their line of sight. They see you, they see that you're waiting there patiently to talk to them. They will probably do their best to get to you. They want to mentor writers. They want to talk about writing. That's why they're here. But just don't let your brain on drugs run away with you. Remember the plan you set up before, especially mentally, especially about what you are there to learn, what you are there to accomplish, and also be flexible. Here's the thing. If you go into conference without a plan, you're going to be way more likely to do silly things like take up an open pitch session to a publisher who does not publish what you write. Absolutely did that one year. Just heard that there was a pitch session available, got very excited about it, went and did the pitch, and like was immediately told we don't publish that. And I just felt like an absolute moron. So again, don't let the conference high run away with you. Remember your plan, but then also be flexible. If there are opportunities that are relevant for you, feel free to take them. If you are in one class and being in there realizes, oh, because of this thing here, I really want to go to this other class over here, Maybe you change what you're going to at in-person live conference and you decide to pick up the other one on the online, which I highly recommend. If you have not gotten online conference yet, get online conference. It will allow you to go back and see the classes you didn't have a chance to attend in person and revisit the ones you did go to and revisit all those notes. And we'll talk about why that's important later on. Manage your wellness while you are at conference. Do not turn yourself into a physical mess, dehydrated, overtired, hungry. Don't do it to yourself. It's just not a good time. Make sure that you have everything you need. Maybe it's medications and supplements. Maybe it's specific kinds of hydration, specific kinds of snacks you like to have. Just know yourself, know what your body needs, manage your wellness throughout the day. And then prioritize your nightly recovery. For those of us doing Thursday, conference is a 3-day thing. And if you are not getting a decent amount of sleep at night, you are not going to have the neurotransmitters you need to get back into the flow state the next day. So make sure you're prioritizing sleep as best you can. I get it. The gala is awesome. You're going to stay up late with your friends. It's going to be crazy. Totally understand. And if you're the kind of person who can pull an all-nighter and still be good the next day, congratulations. You are younger than me. And I, endorse it. Have fun. If you can handle it, do it. And then, of course, just enjoy it. Try to enjoy the experience. I have seen, especially first timers coming into a conference that they paid for, and they feel like, if I do not get every bit of knowledge and information out of this conference that I can, I will have failed and this will be a waste of money. That's not great for you. That's not great for your emotions, for your mental situation while you're there. And it's also going to actually get in the way of the learning a lot of time. So if you could just try and enjoy the experience, one of the cool things about that flow part of the flow state is that you are intaking information way faster and way better than you think. So you might feel a little overwhelmed by everything you're hearing. Just trust that your brain is taking in way more than you realize, and that there's stuff being laid down in your subconscious that you're actually going to see show up in your writing later on, that you maybe weren't even like, that wasn't a conscious note you took, that wasn't a particular class you took. You're absorbing a lot. So try to enjoy it. And lastly, remember, we already love you. You are surrounded by your fellow writers, people who love books, love writing. They are here to learn. They are here to have a good time, say hello to their friends, and just enjoy being surrounded by people who get them. Part of this is try to be as gracious with other people as you possibly can. Interpret everything said to you about your writing in the best light possible, because chances are that's how it was meant. Now, you may encounter people who are running conference and are therefore very stressed out human beings. They might rush you at a registration table. They might, they might be brusque. They might have other things to do. Don't take it personally. Just know they're busy people. And also remember, you don't know what other people are coming into conference with. Not everybody has had a chance to shut all the tabs in their brain before they got there. More than once, I have hung out, sat with an individual who showed up Thursday, and maybe during a break or after a particular class, they just kind of brain dumped on me. And I just sat there and did a lot of nodding, because it was clear that what they needed to do was unload all of that before they could be present for conference. So if you find yourself in that situation, that's okay. Do what you can for the people around you. Remember, we already love you. Okay. Conference is done. It has been amazing. Your pitch went super well. You had all the best classes. You have met some of the coolest people you have ever met in your entire life, and you are ready to go home. try to ride the wave if you can. If you are still on that high conference high at the end of conference, if you have the time, sit down and do some reflection, do some writing, apply some of what you have learned into your manuscript if you can. If you have the time as the day has started to ebb, but you're still feeling it, let yourself ride that wave. Give yourself the time to do it if you have the time. If not, if you are like me and you have a husband who is like, where have you been for 3 days? And children who, fortunately for me, my children are older. They're not as needy. But for those of you who still have little littles, I remember those days. They want to know where mommy is and why isn't mommy home? And you have that sense of like, okay, I got to get back to my family. Do not expect them to be excited about conference. They may be excited to see you. They may be happy to see you. But when you try to go tell them that one quote from the keynote that your brain and all of its numbing neurotransmitters has layered a bunch of meaning and insight and feeling onto, and it was incredible, and you go and you tell your spouse, and they're like, cool, yeah, that sounds good. That was nice. Don't get frustrated with them. They have not had the experience you have just had. They are not going to be as excited about conference as you have been. Don't expect that of them. Plan ahead for your dinner and evening rituals that night. If you've got kids that need baths, if you've got dinners that have to be done that night, whatever it is, this is a good thing to plan ahead for. It's also a good thing to be flexible about. Maybe you get pizza or even frozen pizza on the way home for everybody. Maybe like the night baths and all the stories and think maybe that kind of goes out the window on Saturday night and you all just sit in your cozy PJs and watch a movie together. It's okay. This might seem repetitive, but set these expectations ahead of time. Do not try to do this flexibility. Do not try to do this mindfulness in the moment. You will not succeed. You don't have any brain transmitters left, which means your ability to do nimble, on the spot thinking, deal with all the things, you're not going to be able to do it. So you need to set the expectations with your children, with your spouses, with your parents, whoever you're coming home to, maybe even with your dog. I don't know. But you need to set these expectations up with them ahead of time so that when you come home, they are not then frustrated with you because you're like, I got nothing. I can't. And then that way you don't have conference, your writing becoming a source of conflict. So remember, this is a cycle. We're going through lots of neurotransmitters over and over again. Cool thing is, the cortisol, norepinephrine thing, it kind of tamps down after a while. Once you feel like you're not in a sense of super struggle, you kind of have a handle on where all the rooms are, you know what's going on. You don't have to go through that as much anymore. That's great. Less cortisol, good. You might also notice that there is, if you know brain science, you're like, but where's the GABA? Because GABA is a neurotransmitter that is primarily involved in sleep. That is your super relaxing, everybody just needs to chill the heck out neurotransmitter. And it's the only one left by the end of this cycle. Do not be surprised if you get to the end and you sleep like the dead. However, there is another thing that GABA is responsible for, and that is when you're dreaming and your subconscious brain are doing things that feel vivid, it is GABA that helps your brain go, that's not real. That's not important. That was just stress we needed to process. Okay, we can get rid of that now. GABA does a lot of clearing things out, which means you can wake up Sunday morning and your brain will literally have convinced you that most of conference was a dream, that it wasn't really real. Stuff that was hyper novel that you've never done before. Stuff that was particularly different than, what your day to day is. If you got to meet an author you've never met before and you made a really good connection with them and they're like, oh yeah, email me something. your brain will go, that is hyper novel. That doesn't quite seem real. Boop, boop, boop. And it will tuck it to the back of your brain. And so you will feel like nothing really happened. Part of how we fix this is we do some reflection and we remind our nervous system that these experiences were real. Take some time to think about who and what was amazing about conference. What do you want to remember for next year? What wasn't ideal? How can you address that? Was that a thing you had any control over? And what do you really want to make sure you follow up on? What classes do you want to revisit? What notes do you want to go over? Try to do this at the end of each conference day or during breaks if you can. Plan a time for towards the end of the conference, what I was talking about, ride that wave. If you're still on that conference high and you don't have to be home immediately, take a little time, do some reflection if you can. If neither of those work for you, plan a time later in the week to revisit some of this stuff. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the week after, whatever works for you. Plan a time, schedule it, make it concrete. Do not try to do your reflections the next day. Now, again, everyone's brains are different. Your mileage may vary. However, conference drop is real. It is a physical, neurological, physiological thing that happens when you have been in that heightened flow state. Everything's great. You're learning. It's exciting. You're doing this over and over and over again. You've got that laser focus. Sometimes it feels so good. Eventually, your brain runs out of neurotransmitters. Even if you have slept well, even if your nutrition is on point, even if you stayed really hydrated throughout the whole thing, you will drop because your brain will run out of neurotransmitters with which to do anything. This can manifest mentally, where your brain is just soup and you can't process anything to save your life. This can manifest physically. I know for me, when I am really dropping, my joints start to swell a little bit because I start getting inflamed because anything that has to do with the way your neurons communicate with each other is going to affect whole body systems. People may call this conference crud, thinking I am sick because I went to conference and I was exposed to everyone's pathogens. Possible. Also possible that conference drop lowered your immune system's ability to continue to fight those things and you do get sick. Also possible. So like wash your hands frequently. Hand sanitizer is your friend, all those sorts of normal things. But just remember, you might not be sick. You might just be dropping. You cannot fight drop. You cannot prevent it, really, but you can prepare for it. Drop usually lasts anywhere from 36 to 72 hours. Your mileage will vary. For me personally, because I am one of those neurospicy people, drop tends to last through Wednesday, the following Wednesday for me. What you need to do in preparation is to stack the kinds of tasks that you can do on autopilot. Chances are Monday will look like nothing but laundry in and out of the dryer and listening to audiobooks while I fold, because I don't have to think about that at all. I have a very important doctor's appointment coming up with my son. My husband will be in attendance with me. I will be planning all of my questions for that appointment ahead of time so I can walk in with my list. And then I also have another adult human with a fully functioning brain who can help me remember the actual answers to those questions so that I don't get home and my husband goes, okay, what did the doctor say about this thing? And I'll be like, something about asthma and soup. I don't know. That's not you being again, that's not you being an inattentive mom. That's not you. That's nothing about you as a person. That's just what drop does to you. So do your best to clear anything important. And if you have important stuff you can't clear because work is work and home life is home life and you got to get stuff done, enlist help and make sure that you have, again, a plan in place for how you're going to do those things. Prioritize your recovery. Again, sleep, hydration, again, electrolytes. Your body needs to be able to build those neurotransmitters back up again. They need those ions. Sorry, I just saw the chat pop up. Yes. Yeah, it explained exactly, like, conference drop is a thing and it's not just, you can't hack it. This is your brain on conference. Um, Prioritize your nutrition. Um, your brain functions best on either carbohydrates or ketones. Know which one you like to do the most and prepare stuff for the week following accordingly. Also, though, if you're a carb brain person, maybe prioritize the more complex stuff and not as much, cookies and cake and that sort of thing, because that can extend the down regulation if you're not careful. So, like sweet potatoes, whole grains, those are your friends. And then throw some self-care in there for sure. If you are a hot bath person, make sure you schedule one of those. If you are, I just need to, like, my favorite movie and a snack and nothing else for like the next 3 hours, whatever it is, make sure you schedule that time in there to build yourself back up. And then as you're doing these things, think past you. Take a moment to remember gratitude for yourself. Like, oh, I did this for me. Thank you, me. Because that will encourage you to do the kinds of things that care for yourself in the future going forward. So thank yourself for the care that you scheduled for yourself. And then do all of that follow up as soon as the fallout is over, as soon as you are starting to feel like you can construct whole sentences again and your body is a little more with it. That is the time to go back over notes. That is the time to schedule your online classes. If you have paid for online conference, schedule your class time. I will do that later is a lie your brain does not understand. You have to put it on the calendar, or it will get to the end of online conference and it will be going away. And you're like, I didn't watch half of the things I wanted to. Don't do that to yourself. Schedule it and do that follow up and that reflection on conference as soon as you feel capable of doing it again. Email the people you want to email. Ask the questions you want to ask. Text the people that, like, you have new besties. You have new writer besties. Text them. They want to hear from you. I promise. This is just a picture of a couple of my conference besties, and conference can be the most amazing experience. It gives you connections that can last your whole life, and it can help build you up, not just as a writer, but as a person. And if you remember that you're having this amazing, heightened, incredible experience, and that experience is real, you will have the benefit of conference all year long because you'll have people you can turn to anytime you're stuck, anytime you have questions. You'll have the people you can go to, and that's really the most important thing to take away from conference. So that is my class. This is your brain on conference. There's one thing more thing I do want to say real quick. Conference addicts are also a thing. I think we all know people who find a conference, find an online community, something, and they're always going through these classes and these conferences and these experiences, and they're paying for it over and over again, but they don't seem to make a ton of actual progress in their writing, at least not from the outside. This is that effect of your brain tells you it's not real. And so you don't extend the follow up the way you need to get what you really need out of conference. Don't let your brain do that to you so that you're not becoming a conference junkie. This is like the term adrenaline junkie. You're not really hooked on the adrenaline. Remember, that's part of the struggle part of the flow state. You're hooked on flow. You're hooked on that dopamine, endorphin, anandamide hit that you get when you hit that hyper focused flow state. And if you're not careful, that heightened state can lead you to just wanting to have a conference experience over and over again, just having a heightened experience over and over again without getting what you need to get and being super mindful of it. So that is my class. I'm going to stop sharing and check.
Yay! Well, first of all, thank you so much, Anika. And yes, we do have some Q&As for you. First of all, can you type your email address into the chat so that people can get your
Absolutely.
slides?
Doing that.
While you do that, I want to look at this question from anonymous attendee. They say, I feel like with the social mindful point, I go too far. I assume that talking too much to anyone will bother them, and it's best to keep to myself for their sakes. Any advice?
Yes. Have those um icebreakers ready. Like if there's somebody who's, you've got that like they're a little famous, and you want to go talk to them. Hey, I have a question. It seems so simple, it seems so silly, but just knowing that that's how like I just have a question that I would like to ask you, and then that can often lead you to more conversation. Remember, everyone is there for this experience. Everyone is there to meet other writers, to talk about writing. If somebody is in a state where they are taking care of themselves by taking a break, by stepping away, most of the time they'll just let you know. They'll be like, hey, I'm kind of trying to take a break. A lot of people will go do that in their hotel room if they're staying at the hotel, or they will go sit away from the conference area in order to do that. So if you see someone who's kind of removed themselves, then yeah, that's probably a time to let them be. But most of the time, who wouldn't want to meet you? You're a writer. You are interesting to us. We are interested in each other. So don't let that fear hold you back. And then just have your icebreakers ready to go. Just like, hey, I saw you in the other class. What did you think? What did you think of that last class we were both in together? That's another good one.
I think this can be summed up as imposter syndrome. Like, don't be afraid to say hi, make friends. People are here for networking.
Yeah.
Just don't ambush people in the bathroom.
Do not ambush people in the bathroom. That
Just
is
don't
not
even
okay.
talk to anybody in the bathroom. Like,
No.
next question. Regina says, my plan is to fly home early Sunday morning. Church is at noon. I planned on teaching primary. Should I rethink this plan? Real fast, if anybody else has a Q&A to put into the chat, go for it. Otherwise, this will probably be our last question.
Okay. Um, Make sure that you are prioritizing your sleep Saturday night. Make sure that you get like a good meal in you, lots of hydration, and that you sleep really, really well. Like if you need to bring like a Benadryl or a melatonin or something, whatever works for you to make sure that you get really good sleep the night before, do that. Um, but genuinely, yeah, I tend to tell people, even though I'm local, I tend to tell people I'm out of town that weekend because technically I am in a different town that weekend. And then that way they don't feel like you're bailing on them, you're being like, no, I'm out of town. I won't be here. So even if you are technically here, you're really not. I do that. Um, have a backup. Call a sub as a backup just in case. You may well get there and be like, yeah, I can hang with Sunbeams for half an hour, no big deal. You are the only one who can make that call though. So you might want to have somebody like, hey, just in case. And you can even frame it as like, I'm supposed to fly home early Sunday morning, just in case my flight's delayed, just in case something goes wrong with my travel. Can you please be ready to sub? And then if you're flying in and you're like, I'm gonna fall asleep in the car, on the way home, kick in your sub. Yeah, for sure.
Love
That's
it.
definitely a thing. That's one of the things to plan ahead for sure.
So, Annika, as we wrap up, thank you so much again for teaching. Where can people find you? Are you on social media?
So funny that um I'm actually not really. I'm one of those people who every year I go to conference knowing that I hate social media. I don't have an author platform really. And yet every year I come away going, I need to get into social media. And then I sleep and the GABA kicks in and it goes, that wasn't real. You don't do that. You don't want to do that. And so I do share a Facebook with my husband that you might see in the ANWA. I basically use my husband's Facebook for ANWA. But you can find my books online. Just put me into Amazon, I'll come up and email me. Like, feel free to email me with any thoughts, any questions, get the slides, which I'm so sorry my computer was like, nah, I'm not having it today.
It
So,
looked fine, don't worry.
well, thank you, Chantel. I appreciate it. And thank you guys all for being here. And I can't wait to see everybody at conference. It's going to be amazing.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much, everybody, and have a good rest of your night.